Paul and I were both raised in different churches. He up in Pennsylvania and me in Illinois. Never really were taught very much about finances as part of church. You know, we learned to give some, but never really learned very much about tithing or really committed study of finances until we were here at Community. Most of our debt was Carla's doing. Paul was debt-free when we got married, and our debt was all because I'm the spender of our family. And so the decision to get out of debt was mostly mine, even though Paul and I were both committed to it. And in fact, it came with the realization first that we were in debt. I wouldn't have said we were in debt, even though we had very large credit card bills. We had 2 car loans. But I thought being in debt meant you were drowning, that you couldn't pay your bills. And, you know, we could pay our bills, so we were fine. And so that was our first kind of realization, was through a small group study just with some other single couples or some young couples, that we were in debt and that wasn't God's plan for us. And so we almost immediately became committed to tracking our finances and writing a budget. And we've stuck to that budget now probably for 13 years. And it's just been the reforming of us. It was a wonderful thing for our marriage. It was a wonderful thing for me as the spender to not be so out of control. And it was probably our next step in that journey that we took the Crown study, and we're so amazed by all that God had to say about finances, about giving and work and saving, and I think that was when we first really learned about tithing. Even though Paul and I had both gone to church most of our life, I don't think we ever were really taught tithing, or if we were, we weren't listening. And in Crown, they really, you know, give you the spiritual background, and we became convinced that that's what we were supposed to do. I wish we had become as convinced maybe as we should have been, because my take on it, again, it was probably more Carla than Paul, was that we were going to work our way into tithing the same we worked our way out of debt. We were going to increase our percentage of giving a little bit each time Paul and I got a raise. I think it was 0.5% each time one of us got a raise, so that was going to be 1% a year, and you know, within a few years we'd be tithing. And in my mind, that was the pain-free solution. And I even thought, you know, Scott should preach a sermon on pain-free tithing. And Scott did preach a sermon, only it wasn't on pain-free tithing. It was from Malachi 3, the same scriptures he spoke about last week. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. And that's where God's blessings come from, and bringing the supernatural into your finances. And God's blessings would come from Him opening the storehouses of heaven and pouring out more than we could even imagine. And I think Paul and I looked at each other and we realized that our way was not the way it was supposed to be. And this was during the same time that we were budgeting. We were learning to budget, we were getting out of debt, and there was no extra money. We knew that we could not afford to tithe. That's why we thought we'd come up with our own painless way. But if the Creator of the universe had promised to take care of us, we figured it was time to jump, and we did. I wish I could say that Publishers Clearinghouse showed up on my doorstep. I wish I could say a long-lost uncle died and left us $1 million, and that didn't happen. But never once did we miss a meal. Never once did we miss a payment on anything. We have prospered. We have worked on our house and bought furniture and bought cars, and we've never gone back into debt. And we just have realized that it's, as Scott has said so many times, and I think we finally listened, that it's not a money issue. It's trusting God and knowing that He's going to take care of you. And we left 10% behind a long time ago. That's not a brag on our part. It's with complete humility that I can say that I don't know where we'd be if we hadn't started tithing when we did, because God has protected and provided for us so well.